Long before shining nights and holy wars, before even the sagas were written, there were whispers carried on the northern wind of women who rode through the clouds, their armor glinting like lightning. They were not queens, not saints. They were Valkyries, the choosers of the slain. When warriors clashed and the air turned red with battle, these spectral women appeared on horses wreathed in mist. Their eyes were cold as winter seas, their voices like thunder. And as men screamed and gods watched, it was the Valkyries who decided whose story ended and whose spirit would feast forever in Valhalla. They were Odin's handmaidens and his angels of death. So tonight, we ride into the storm to uncover who these women truly were, part goddess, part warrior, part fate itself. In Old Norse, Valkyria means chooser of the slain. These were no ordinary women. They were divine beings in Odin's service, sent to every great battle to select which warriors would die and which would live. But here's the twist. They didn't just pick the fallen after the fight. In some tales, they caused the deaths themselves. They bent fate, tilted swords, and guided spears to ensure Odin's chosen would reach Valhalla. They were described as beautiful and terrifying, shining in mail and cloaks of raven feathers, hair glowing like the northern lights. When they rode, storms followed. When they looked upon a man, even the bravest heart trembled. To see a Valkyrie was to stand face to face with destiny. Imagine a Viking battlefield, steel crashing, mud slick with blood, horns calling into the chaos. Above it all, dark shapes descend through the mist, Valkyries riding spectral horses, eyes fixed on the dying. In Dalraðarljóð, one of the oldest Viking poems, they are shown weaving the web of war itself, a gruesome tapestry made from human entrails with swords as shuttles and skulls as weights. Each thread they pulled determined who lived, who fell, and whose soul would rise to Odin's hall. When the last warrior's cry faded, the Valkyries gathered the chosen, lifting them from broken bodies, carrying them into the skies toward Valhalla. There the dead would feast, drink mead, and train for Ragnarok, the final battle of the gods. Not all Valkyries stayed in the heavens. Some fell in love with mortal men, and that's where things got complicated. Take Brynhildr, one of the most famous Valkyries. She defied Odin, saved the wrong warrior, and was punished with sleep until a mortal hero awakened her. Her story became one of love, betrayal, and revenge, echoed later in Wagner's Ring Cycle. Other tales speak of Valkyries who walked among men disguised as maidens, testing courage or guiding heroes to glory. But love with a Valkyrie was never safe. Their loyalty belonged to fate and Odin before any man. Valkyries weren't just supernatural soldiers. They embodied nature's raw power. They rode on horses that could fly across sky and sea. Some wore swan feather cloaks, letting them shapeshift and vanish at will. Their arrival often brought storms, their tears the rain, their laughter the wind. Their names revealed their nature: Skuld, meaning future, Gunnar, war, Hildr, battle, and Mist, cloud. Each name a fragment of the chaos and poetry of combat. To warriors, they were both a promise and a curse. If a Valkyrie looked upon you, it meant glory or doom. Sometimes both. Over centuries, their image changed. Christian scribes softened them into angelic figures. Later poets romanticized them, golden-haired maidens with wings and shining armor. But the truth, the real Valkyries, were far darker. They were storm spirits, death bringers, and judges of worth. They embodied the Norse idea that honor in death was greater than a lifetime of fear. In every clash of swords, in every thunderstorm, the Norse saw their presence, riding the wind, whispering to the dying. And though the sagas have ended, the idea of the Valkyrie endures. Women who wield power, shape destiny, and walk unafraid through fire and blood. So tonight, if you hear thunder in the distance, don't think of storms. Think of hooves pounding through the clouds, armor flashing in the lightning. Think of the women who chose the brave from the broken and carried their souls to glory. The Valkyries, Odin's messengers, Death's daughters, the fearless choosers of the slain. Because in the Norse world, even fate had a woman's face.